Hi everyone, this is Bhavani with Mind, Body, Spirit, and I'm back once again with one of our presenters hosting an exciting workshop with us at the end of May for the London Festival this year. Today I'm joined by Dr. Rathika Marsh. Dr. Rathika, thank you so much for taking the time to join me and our community who will be joining us live and also who will be joining us in their own time as well. So hello to everyone catching up on this.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're so happy to be hosting you and again to be having you here on the live with us. I wanted to bring you on because you're one of our newer presenters that I'm very excited about, but bringing you into the platform and sharing your work with our community. I thought it would be great for everyone to hear from you about what you're going to be doing at the festival.
I'm so excited. So thank you for inviting me. And yeah, I feel really honored and blessed. So
Mm.
thank you. I'll tell everyone a little bit about me first.
Yes.
So my name's Dr. Radhika, and I am known on social media as the spiritual psychologist.
Yes.
So I blend in the two worlds of psychology and spirituality. So I've been a psychologist for 15 years and I blend that with spirituality. So the combination of the two in healing and in growth and supporting you on your life path is so beautiful and powerful and
Mm,
unique. There's usually kind of one or the other. Um,
absolutely.
but the unique thing is the blending of the two. So I support a lot of women in particular with around healing emotional wounds and traumas and
Mm,
things that keep you stuck from moving forward in life and doing the things that that would make your life feel aligned and exciting
mm.
with joy and passion.
I
Yeah.
really love that, you're straight in with saying it's a blend of the two, because I think for a very long time, people have had to, it's a straddling of one or the other. You've got the people who've gone down the psychology and the sort of more, I want to say the more sort of Western applications of that, or you've got the people who are looking at the more spiritual side of it. But we've always known that there's a link between the two, and I think that's why
Yeah.
people are naturally drawn to both. So the fact that in your work you're bringing the two together, I think, is really exciting for people.
Yes, and it's the psychology side provides the grounding.
Mm,
The grounding of like, okay, if I'm struggling to heal a part of myself or my relationships or whatever it might be, that the psychology side supports you to understand why that might be and what it is
mm,
that you could do to move forward, and
mm,
understand all of the generational stuff in your life and all the different
mm,
factors that have impacted on you. But
mm,
but the bit that's missing from that, I think, when you come from a purely psychological side, is the power of the unseen and
mm,
magic and that limitless potential that we have within us.
mm, mm.
And yeah, feeling fully supported by something way beyond us.
Spiritual practices that have been around for centuries, millennia, um, often, in more recent history, whether it's over the last 100, 200 years, when science comes up with some sort of study that then reinforces something that people have been practicing for thousands of years, that
Mm.
always gives it a boost, because people continue to practice without that scientific side of it, but then when the science is there, it sort of bolsters it
Yeah,
even more. And I think a lot of people do come to spiritual practices and spirituality in general because they are looking to heal something.
yes,
Um, and especially because you've mentioned about generational things as well. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I know that's something that you're going to be doing in your workshop. It's not just about coming and healing, who you are right now in this moment, but it's so
definitely.
much more profound, right?
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, there's so many. The way that I look at it is that there could be this trigger. The best way to
Mm,
look at it, and this is something everybody can do now, that there's
mm,
like triggers in our lives. So then, if you think of something in your life that always triggers you, You know, it's the same person that triggers you, or the same your boss, or like it could be your relationship, or your child, you know, or it could be a situation that triggers you, like being in groups or something like that.
Mm, mm,
That trigger that you experience is often if you trace it back, it's from something that you have been taught. So it's
mm,
either been taught by a parent, most likely, or it's been taught by community, or
mm,
in something within your upbringing. And then it
mm,
goes back even further, because the way that your parents parent you is based on what they knew about reality. You know, it's based
mm.
on their own wounds and trauma.
Yeah.
So it just goes back and back and back. So often the trigger that you're carrying isn't
Mm,
even yours,
mm,
it's ancestral, you know.
right.
So it goes way back, and you're carrying essentially a wound from a grandparent, or a great grandparent, or a great great grandparent, you know. And that collective, there's collective elements to it, such as who we have always been taught to be as women
Mm,
in a patriarchal society. And that's why the workshop is unleashing your wild woman, you know.
yeah.
It's exploring that from a psychological and a spiritual perspective.
So beautiful and so powerful. I know that it's going to be really meaningful work that you're going to. And I love this acknowledgement and reference to that generational trauma, particularly as women. I think a lot of the time it's only looked at from the perspective of race, actually. And I think just women in
Yeah.
general, from whatever cultural background they're from, there will be a lot of similarities of this generational trauma.
Yeah.
Can you share with us and with our community what are some of the post workshop effects, that we can begin to see in our lives, in our relationships, and how we're showing up, maybe professionally, across the board, which will help get people to understand even more why they should be coming along to experience this and your work.
Yeah. Well, the workshop is really going to be, there's going to be an element of it, the first part, which is going to be about exploration, understanding, you know, where
Mm,
is it that your wild woman is suppressed, and what
mm,
is the wild woman even? Because there's a perception
mm.
that, like, if you're wild, you're out partying. I don't know.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? There's a perception of what the wild
yeah,
woman looks like, and often that perception
yeah,
that she's out of control.
yes.
She's out of control and wild in like a negative way. So
Mm,
explore, like, what does wild truly mean? And if you don't know, what often people think that they don't know what their wild side is. That's what a lot of women come to me and say, or they've identified with like this drinking version with themselves, or
mm,
drug taking version of themselves, you know, and that's like the wild part of them. But they've
mm,
actually then like that identity is shifted,
mm.
but they're still wild, but they don't know how to tap into it,
Right.
you know.
Without leaning on old behaviors or patterns.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
What
Yeah.
they knew as wild was a certain thing. And
Yeah.
or the other type of person, I guess, that comes to me is that they've never experienced that wild.
Mm.
They've been people pleasers all their lives, and so they get to a
As
point.
most women are, even if they
Yeah,
don't realize it.
yes, definitely. And so they get to a point in their lives where they're like, who am I?
Mm.
So the workshop really explores, what does the wild.
Oh.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Somebody trying
I
to.
lost you for a second.
So the workshop really explores, what does the wild woman, who was she, when
Mm.
is it that you were kind of wild in your childhood, and really
Mm.
exploring what it is that actually brings you joy,
Mm.
what that and talking about also what it feels like to be free,
Wow.
and exploring that in some depth. So there's the psychological side of it, which is going to get you to think about things. But then there's also, because we're going to go into cacao ceremony, allowing some of that subconscious to allow that processing and to allow that insight to come through from spirit around, what does this wild woman look like? Where does she need to express herself? Where does she need to be seen a bit more?
I do love that you're incorporating a cacao ceremony in the work that you do for our community who might not be that from, even though we have them around the festival at different parts. Can you talk about how a cacao ceremony feeds into the work that you're doing for this, and
Yes.
how, as someone, as an attendee going through that process, how the cacao ceremony supports that evolution and
Yeah.
that
So
awakening?
for me, cacao is it really is like a sacred ritual,
Mm.
and that's what I'm going to be bringing. So when we go into ritual, we're being supported to connect and to co-create with spirit. And often this is the other thing, like, and I guess I've been on this journey as well of how do I do that? A lot of people want to feel deeper connection with spirit, with God, with ancestors, and they don't necessarily have the ways, the tools or means to do that. So it's really helpful if somebody else is holding that space for you to access it,
Yeah.
so that you're not having to do it. you know
Yeah.
so that's first of all part of the beauty of it, that come to the workshop and allow me to hold that space to bring in that communion on your behalf,
Mm.
with spirit, and for me to call them in and to feel guided through a process. And
Mm.
the cacao that we're going to be drinking is from the Andes. It's really, really beautiful and just so gentle and powerful. And I'm going to guide everybody through meditation, through an energy cleansing, first of all, and then calling in the 7 directions. And we're going to go through visualization, meditation, some drumming, some
Wow.
movement. So it's
Yeah.
going to be good.
It's a jam-packed workshop. I know that there's
Yeah,
a lot
it
in it, and
is.
there's a lot for people to experience when they come and join
Yeah.
your workshop. Do you want to let everyone know when it is and where they can get tickets to join you?
Yes, so it's the 28th of May. It's a morning workshop. It's at 10:45, and it's going to be beautiful. I'm going to
Yeah.
create a really beautiful ritualistic space. So I'm excited
Mm.
to
We're
make it
excited
pretty.
too. Yeah, we're so excited. And, if you don't already, hop over and follow Dr. Rathika's work. You'll see, a glimpse of how she really brings in that vibe. And I'm really looking forward to sneaking off the festival floor and definitely joining this workshop, because I'm so excited for the journey that
Me
people are
too.
going to be going on. So thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time to chat to me and our community, to give them a little bit of a snapshot of what they're going to experience in your workshop. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm so excited.
We'll see you soon. Bye.